question will arise is, what truly is the value of a university education as we know it in its current form?
I mean, 1 degree is not going to cut it, let's face it. An undergraduate degree, I'm all for it. Not going to cut, you're going to need to go further.
The original purpose is to learn and expand your mind.
I came into university thinking that I had a plan and then didn't have a plan. And now my plan is to develop a plan at some point.
What it's turned into is a job factory.
The entire world is getting more international.
Different kinds of things get learned in different places.
If you really wanted to, you could go into a trade.
It's not all about finding a job, it's finding the job.
Can we convince government to give the universities more money? No.
Financial stress affects you.
Can we convince the students to pay more? No.
I guess, are you coming out more inspired than when you came in?
No. Oh no.
So what choice is left? Change.
The system as a whole, not just individual universities, but the entire university system, is not asking itself tough questions about what its modus operandi is, or its reason for existence, for that matter, is.
There's a lot of things that we've done really well as a university over the past couple of years. It's important to start with what we've had as successes, but if we're to advance in the future, we need to ensure that we provide a quality education for our students.
I don't think university has ever been a progressive institution.
You're a stakeholder as students in our curriculum, and it has to be meaningful.
I think the university has always served to the interests of like an upper class.
Now we know that if you're on income assistance, you can't stay on income assistance and go to university.
Like, think about how like Dow was founded, like a group of white dudes, frankly. Like, you know, it's like, who and why would they establish a university?
A lot of teachers, when they talk, they're talking about not just going into post-secondary education, but they're talking more about going into university.
One of the things we should be aiming for is to unleash people's creativity all the time, at every level, from when they first arrive to all the way through, and not just the students, but the faculty, the grad students, everybody.
You walk on the street and you meet an old person who is ill, and you meet a cyclist who is using the street for like exercise. You know, and that's a health aspect. And you reach someone who's poor and there's a structural problem with the economy. That's like political science. And then there's like the trees, which is ecology and environmental science, and then like the people and planning and architecture and all that stuff like comes together right in the street. And it's like that's the way, just like all these random interactions with random people in the world, that's the way the university should be. We should be able to meet on the street and talk, but we never talk. So maybe one day.
The one thing I found that some programs, they gave undergrad students opportunity to teach tutorials. That's how I found it's really useful and gain knowledge like by teaching other people.
Getting hands-on experience in labs has been really great.
And I really enjoy the fact that I live in two worlds, and if I spend too much time in the lab, then I'm like, okay, time to balance myself out with some German homework.
There's many different career options out there, but the training, that foundation needs to grow as well.
I think it's very important that you are not confined in your own culture.
We need to use the universities as more as an asset and look at how we can integrate them into the communities.
To understand how to work in groups, to understand how to work collaboratively, to know how to move things socially. Those are things that we believe you can teach in a university situation and often have been taught, but we don't identify them as the results.
Then we can use our universities for a whole host of different things, right? Like, why are we building a convention center when we've got 5 universities in Halifax?
The views are very idealistic when I hear kids our age talking about university. Like, these are the courses I'm going to take, this is where I'm going to go, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life, and then there's not much thought put into how much money it's going to be, how much time it's going to be, what you're going to have to do to work towards that.
You know, if we're always talking about finances and debt and to pay that back, then that certainly orients our thinking to a certain way of being in the world, which is basically, you know, the sky is falling, the sky is falling.
The nature of education, what education does, who it's for, and what the benefits are, has got to change.
For me, believing quite firmly that the purpose of the university follows from the ideal that we should be striving towards a more equal society, the answer is really quite simple.
There's an inevitable group of undergraduates that's like forced to be here, that doesn't want to be here, they're just here to get a job.
The role of the university is to educate people not just for jobs, but teach them how to learn.
Quite a lot of students come here without a knowledge of what they really want to do, and we need to expose them to things that they may not have known about.
And in teaching them how to learn, you're teaching them about society, you're teaching them about civic structure, you're teaching them about government, and more importantly, you're teaching them about their responsibility in those things.
Education is a right similar to housing and water and air.
It's a gift, and not everybody can do it, and it's a privilege.
Hopefully we can all learn together how we can learn better.
If the student voice doesn't get louder and louder and louder, change will not happen. It will not happen.
You know, it's like, how much do I remember of my degree? Like, not that much of it, frankly. It's like some things, but how is it relevant? I don't know.